this is Marcus Washington. We're making the cut, and we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL lines today. We'll probably have three picks for you, maybe four. It's a terrible day for lines, if you ask me. Just because some injuries thing, you don't know how healthy Lamar Jackson is, and that's a 4.5 point spread, and then uh, you don't know how Dallas will react because they lost one of their offensive linemen this morning, and they're plus 2.5 at Kansas City, and so there's a lot of things that cause a little bit of uncertainty, but we're going to have some picks today anyway because that's what we do. Again, let's just see how this works out here. But I do think there are some on the board that I do like. Starting with Tennessee minus 8.5, with the Texans. The Texans are in full. Let's just get this season over mode. Tennessee is still motivated because they're placed in the standings and they're still playing for something. And despite the fact there's 17 games, we are in week 11, and some teams are probably already starting to look forward to next year. And there's two different looking forwards. There's the look forward to next year because we have something going and we're developing and we're excited about next year, and we're going to use the second half of this season to set it up. Then there's, I just want the season to end, and I have no clue what we're going to do next year, even once this season ends. And that's where Houston is. Houston doesn't know about their quarterback situation. We're not going to discuss it, but we all know what that situation is. There's no guarantee that Houston even has the right coach there because they refused to hire the right coach there because it was a coach that Deshaun Watson liked and they weren't going to give in. And this is where, the whole thing about, about being spite and how spite can hurt you. I think that if Houston hired Bieniemy, even with all this stuff happening, you could probably see, all right, we have a young coach and we're going to move ahead in the future. But no, they hired a guy that shouldn't have been hired, The other game I like today, I do like Miami minus 3.5 at the Jets. Again, we've talked about this a lot. If you're afraid of the hook, buy the hook. If you want this to be 3, make it 3, buy the hook. I feel comfortable with the Dolphins minus 3.5. I think that defense will end up shutting down the Jets, and they might even get a defensive score. That'll be enough for them to cover. I like San Francisco minus 6.5 against Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville is one of those teams I do feel like is moving in the right direction. I think they have the right quarterback, and they probably do have the right quarterback. And it's one of those things where, all right, you're not going anywhere this season, but we're going to still play hard because this season is actually setting up for next season, which is the polar opposite situation of what the Houston Texans are in. And despite the fact that I think that Jacksonville can make this a game, I mean, they really can. I do like San Francisco minus 6.5. A little worry on it because that 6.5 is so high, and they are on the road for a 1:00 game, traveling from west to east. But I'm going to stick with that San Francisco pick. The other game I do like is the Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles game. I do like the Eagles. No one talks about them unless someone wants to complain. No one talks about the Eagles. I do like the Eagles minus 3 at home against the Saints today. I believe that situation is, again, heading in the right direction. They've identified a quarterback, whether you think the quarterback is still flawed or not. They've identified a quarterback, and they are moving in the right direction. I do like them at home today. And last but not least, I do like the over in the Colts-Bills game is 49.5. I think both teams will be able to score in that one. I stay away from the Bills minus 7, even though minus 7 at home. If you put a gun to my head and said I had to take the line, I would take the Bills minus the 7 because they are at home against the Colts. But I do like to ride that over today. So we're looking at the over in the Bills-Colts game. We are looking at Tennessee minus 8.5. We're looking at Miami minus 3.5. We're looking at the Eagles minus 3. And we're looking at San Francisco minus 6.5 for our games today. And again, I would have picked Green Bay and Chicago, but reports are Aaron Rodgers is going to start today, but he's had a problem with his toe, and it has severely limited him. So you want to stay off the games. again, as I started this broadcast out, there are just some games out there because of injuries, um, and nicks and cuts. And this guy's not playing, but this guy's playing, but they won't be 100%. It kind of limits an already limited slate of games as far as if you're looking at a game from a line perspective. So those are my 5 picks today. Again, as always, you see my my Twitter handle and my Instagram handle down here at the bottom. Jump into my timeline, make your own picks. Tell me what you picked. Tell me what you agree, disagree, what games that you're looking at. Hey, throw them down in there. I always love interaction there. This is Marcus Washington from Making the Cut.